Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about special topic. This topic is very common. We all know about it. Things to talk about with our partners. Sometimes we all get stuck in a conversation. We don't know what to say. So today you and I are going to talk about things to talk to our partner about. Okay, you're stuck at home. Today's Sunday. You're stuck. Your husband's like, you're not talking to me. And that's what we're going to talk about. Welcome to Straight Talk Media Show. The presenter is Moa, your DJ Stonezia. From the DJ Stonezia, I'm just to say that yes, Apokraba. And then my topic cannot wanting what that the topic is how bad your babe can't come on. I was here near Kunumuji, see near Kunumufia. And come on, I will say a new moody. And a Sunday, Otifie, where you why you Jane, which is it? Nothing going on, nothing interesting going on. I'm telling you. It's interesting your husband. And I said, well, into no conversation, no, what is your becca? But then me baby strong, kitty beer and some kitty beer. Wait me, a be so wait maybe so MMA a conversation a hit shit. So that you can say you're ignoring me, you're not talking to me, and no and come on, I say me never ebo. But I say it is so she do me and patch so no subscribe now one like it, no presses our bell so that anytime when you're bar Apokraba DJ Cynthia member line no na eja one who say my back what you say it me number so feminine only me bo in comobia because social channel ni we are obehu dwuma eji Straight Talk Media. So presenter na enemy from DJ Stonezia na me just say then yes Apokraba and no things to talk about with your partner. That's what we're going to talk about. Silence in a relationship is not always a bad thing. Okay, have a deep and a meaningful conversation with your husband, with your partner. It shouldn't be anything serious, it shouldn't be anything serious. It should be things that we all do every day. It should be things that near my yet the piano and no any come I also when you could boy shaka so many come be house on Casame home, like why deal female now didn't Natari at no con no cook room, which is sending now for or cobo dame or share football. We were also tiffy because Ubianca Sunday when yes a more yes all time. But it is what it is. Anything I'm saying, me no we essential. And come up be a bit to me. Any your crew man as your partners are keep them in the house. Weekend Sunday. Fun day Sunday. Now just a motive. You made it for 4 weeks. Made it so every now you have to keep him in the house. Yes, I'll be pee at your say. And in silence, always in a relationship is not a bad thing. Just that we need your become. What did they make can I say? And start by saying how was your day? This all crew free my bar. And ask Bisano and as all crown or quadrum and no one quadrum bar. But it's on when Bisao I mean that's something that I like. Okay, send me my bar. You need to ask me, say, how was your day? It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel say you think about me. What you see, it makes me say make quadrum now we'll dream what you see. Until you start by how was your day? Sometimes it could be say nipa no on kashi mema no ati ase will be so crazy how was you there because it's fine and I don't know what walk away. This is how men are. So we'll be so crazy how was your day and today will be say how was your day also fine no started bon come today we be how was your day now it's like a moody and what ati ase no we tria foul so no hey and I know just say he's ignoring it and you need to drag it to take it out of them I was here dragging or more to get a conversation out of them and that doesn't mean say you're fighting what you say I mean start by asking how was your day. It could be anything. It could be at work, it could be at him being home, or it could be him telling you, say, oh, I'm going to visit my friend, and it comes back. You will be starting to say, how was your day? What you see, and then they see, did you enjoy going out with your friend? Did you enjoy watching the football with your friend? Maybe he says, good, and just walk away. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. That is how some men are. Don't take it personal. Be so say, how was your day? Now see you fine. Thank you. No, I walk here where. Don't take it personal. So what's wrong with him? He's been moody. Have I done something wrong and all that? Don't take it personal. That's how some men are. Like I said, sometimes we need to drag the conversation out of our partners. What you say. And so it started a conversation. Walk here where. That's not the end of it. At least you've tried. At least you've tried. You can tell him how your day is. If he walks away or if he stand there by not saying anything, you could tell him how your day was. Like what I say, how your day is being, like by saying, well, I had lunch with my friend at work. I went at work on our lunch break. I went out with my friend Kathy, one of my friends. I went, with Kathy to the shop to have lunch. The dinner was delicious. You can't believe what I had. Oh God, I saw this recipe or something new. I was just like, let me try it, and it was delicious. Maybe you can take your friend there and try it. Okay, and men like food. And there's a saying that a way to a man's heart is, a way to a man's heart is by cooking them a delicious food, is by cooking for them, feeding them. As you say, and this oh kuna say, oh so kuno no, what's not to be a papa be oh kuno. As you say, I just so feeding. Adriane, what you say? And also bit me I can't share no. Besides, how was your day? Now he walks away. You can tell him how was your day. Oh, honey, I went out at work. I went out for lunch with my friend. I met Kati, Ama, Sewa. We went to the shop. Now, it just Adriane, no, delicious. Adriane, ne, shop for that bar. Ɛne wadanfo bi nkɔ na kɔdi wo starte aduane ho nkɔm a sister me ka kyerɛ sɛ wo kunu nka wo kunu a wo sɛ wayɛ moody na wobisa no sɛ how was your day na walk away no wonya bɔ aduane nkɔmmɔ no wobɛhu baabi a nkɔmmɔ no ɛbɛkɔ because mɛma pɛ aduane. There's a saying that a way to a man's heart is by food, cooking him his favorite meal, delicious, by feeding him, making sure that he's always full. What I say, don't take it personal. Now what you call adwuma nea woyɛ deɛ wo ne wadamfo bi yɛ ebi a mo call lunch they see obi a wohyia obi anaasɛ ohu obi ebi a street walk around na nkɔfo bi get into a fight or you saw something, just start talking about it. It will start a conversation. It will keep the conversation or spark the conversation between you and your husband so that if you be a monk. As I say, talk, and as and come on for and come on with me new kunedi Adrian concern and make Adrian talk to him about food. There's a saying that a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. A way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So we say, what's no kunakumamu, not so cool kunakumamu, not to be a papa kunakumamu, a true Adrian. As I say, one way Johnny Papa man ask him about his lunch. So okay, Jumano, talk to him about new recipe, new restaurant. Maybe I will show a social network, so Facebook, so whatever, Instagram, small restaurant, be a bill promo, be a come I say, hey honey, there's this new restaurant coming now, blah blah blah. These are some of the recipe. Talk to him about food, men like food. Okay, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And I don't know, and more. Remember, we're talking about things to talk about with our partner so that there wouldn't be silence in the house all the time. And remember, silence in a relationship, it's not always a bad thing. Silence in a relationship is not always a bad thing. Sometimes, you just need some quiet time by yourself. Sometimes you don't want your husband to bother you. You don't want your wife to keep on it, or you want to be by yourself. So we're learning things that we should talk about to keep the conversation going, or to keep the spike going, or to keep the house going, to keep the relationship, to keep the bonding going. Except say, say, I just don't want to talk now. I've got a headache. I just want some privacy. Then you respect. If not, keep talking to your husband, because remember, just one year son, so quite bontina, you baby, a restaurant, be an pap, be a girl, someone, be a bar, or Bahama, welcome, hello, say hi, hello, darling. Baba, one of my bands is we need the market stuff out there. They will do everything, or maybe be a ajuku, show, they want to take it, your husband off you. And you need to keep it going. The competition is high. And you need to keep your husband going. You need to keep the spice. You need to keep the bond. You need to keep the relationship. So one year, sister, will be the what's here. And ask about worry for no. And I made church. And this is there's so many things I'm learning. I've been married more than 10 years, but I'm still learning. What you see, marriage, for me, marriage is about experience. Okay, the longer you marry, the more experience you have about the word marriage or the word relationship. As I say, and I'm sharing my experience with you so that we can all keep our relationships going. I need a drink. For some reason, I'm into cranberry juice. So you can check it out. I'm not advertising it, but it's so good for some reason. That's what I drink now. I like it. What did they make? Can I say? And talk about food, talk about a new restaurant, talk about something that you think might interest him, just to keep the conversation going. Remember, and if you don't do it, there's a lady out there, the lady around the block will do it for your husband. Remember the pub that your husband goes for a drink, the cafe that he goes for breakfast or snack or whatever. The girls are there, they will keep him talking. And if you don't do it, they'll keep him talking. Before you realize, he's addicted to this place that he goes every day. I think I'm finding myself in that situation because my husband is addicted to this coffee that he goes there for coffee, breakfast and coffee. Okay. So, but you need to keep it. I know he's not doing anything wrong, but this is how it is. Sometimes, if you're not lucky, the people at the cafe or the restaurant where your husband going, they'll keep him talking. And if you see these young ones going on and on, they'll keep your husband busy as well. So you keep your husband talking and busy at home. As I say, and then I made church talk about the current national news. News so they say Ghana news so over her brother, over her buffalo, such conversation. If your husband is not into social media, until he doesn't see all these things. So you can, watch all this and pick the interest part of it and discuss it with him. Men are not like women, they're not interested in all this rubbish and nonsense. But you can pick the interest part of the conversation, the national news, what's going on, and just talk about it. Keep him interesting, tell him about things that you saw on news, start intellectual, and even talking about something on the news can start intellectual conversation among you, and it will take you to somewhere. Understand? Remember, it's all about keeping the relationship going by talking, by finding something to talk about our relationship. Because sometimes it's bored. Like Saturday, both of you are home, the children are there. There's nothing to talk about. It's all about the children. But you need to make time. You need to find time for you and your husband and sit on the couch and have some conversation going. You need to keep yourself moving, you need to keep it interesting, else it will be all about the children. And before you know, you're falling apart, you're growing apart, you're doing something different by yourself, and that is not healthy for a committed relationship. That is not healthy for a marriage. You understand? So keep him talking, interesting thing on the telly, something that you saw. You come, oh honey, did you hear the news? Did you hear what? Like, keep him going. Because you're talking about intellectual, it's not just social media and other stuff. Okay, that's one thing that you can talk about with your husband. Ask him for advice. Men like that. Like you're thinking about a new business, you're thinking about maybe going back to college, something nice. Instead of talking about it with your friends, you can start that conversation with your husband. You can ask your husband first before your friends get to know, because some of our friends talk, okay, they will come to your house and you don't expect them to bring that conversation up. Like you're all sitting in the lounge, having sipping something, and all of a sudden your friend will say, oh, so what does your husband think about the new course that you want to do at college or uni? Then you're sitting there like a zombie. So ask your husband for advice. Asking him for advice will only create some conversation, but also bond the trust between you. Let him listen. when you ask him for advice, listen. You listen, not him. When you ask your husband for advice, listen to what he's got to say. Because women, we talk. I mean, you might be asking for advice, yes, though you're talking. You're asking for advice, yet you're answering yourself. You're saying all that. If you want to, so will be advisor. Now we can't accept then you listen. After asking, asking for the advice, you listen to what the person has got to say. You don't have to argue. And one of the mistakes I hear me so maybe we be advice and now I'm so kasana there be advice. You say what you want advice about. Now what when near one na nipa no I share the opinion na advice on so what no not the amount. Then maybe later after discussing it with your husband, will be to me no now for so I then abon come and by asking your husband for advice and Manu say you trust him. Asking your husband for advice makes him feel so you trust him, you love him, and by doing so you still building a great bond between you and your husband. And if he said he will know that you trust him enough, like if there's something bothering you, if you want something, you come to him first. You come to him before you go to your husband. Okay, you're watching Straight Talk Media. This discussion this afternoon is things to talk about with your partner. Things to talk about with your partner. We're learning, things conversation that we can strike with our husband, like weekends, Sundays, Monday. You're sitting at home, your husband is here, but there's nothing to talk about because all you do is work, and then the children. You don't do anything together. You don't do anything together. Therefore, when you're home together, there's nothing to talk about. But I just want to share with you little stuff that you can talk about with your husband. The current news, the national news. I mean, asking him what his day's been like, the lunch you had, where the restaurant you went for lunch with your friends at work, the news, food that you tried, things that you saw when you were going out. It's just all about conversation. And by doing so, it construct intellectual conversation. Men are not into this social things, but women, we are. So, you can start all this conversation with them, and instead of sitting home, being silent, not having anything to talk about, maybe starting all this conversation might interest your husband. You think he's not interested in those things, but having all this conversation could lead to intellectual conversation, talking about the national news, talking about the current news, things that you saw on social media. It all brings us together. It all bonds us together as husbands, as partner. We shouldn't sit in the house silence, with nothing to talk about. And remember, sometimes silence is also good. Sometimes our men want to have their quiet time, private time. Sometimes women, we also want to have our quiet time without the children running around and shouting in the house. Understand? So that's what we're talking. If you're just watching, this is what we're talking about. Things to talk about with our partner. Silence in a relationship is not always a bad thing. In a relationship is not always a bad thing. Understand? Talk about hobbies. You can talk about your husband's hobby. He likes football, he likes fight, he likes cricket, he likes golf, whatever. Talk about his hobby. Like, maybe last week he told you he's going for a game to watch the games, whatever. You can bring that conversation. Oh God, honey, the game that you went to watch last time, I managed to watch a little bit at home. It was interesting. This person was doing that. This was just pick up something and just talk about. And you see the lights, the smile on his face, because remember, our husbands want us to have the same interest. They want us to support them in their hobbies, their games, their dreams. And if you're one of the women who support your husband's hobbies, oh my God, you have a place in his heart. So footballer. Now you should have a little bit interest in that, so that obefina or can't about gamer, you'll be able to say something. So because may cost stadium footballer. If you're also say football, yeah, broadcast it television. So make a time, say 5 minutes grandpa. Make a time and watch it so that when he comes home and start talking about sitter, you wouldn't sit down and watch him like a zombie. You need to get involved in it. And men laughter. You would be surprised to know how much he is into his hobbies, and he will go on and on and on and about it. If your husband knows that you're interested in his game and you start a conversation about his game, sweetheart, trust me, he will go on and on. You'll be surprised, the smile on his face. You go on and on and on. He will talk about his game all day if you allow him, and if he knows that you're showing interest. And men love that. Men want their partner to support them, to support their hobby, to have that a little bit of knowledge about their hobbies instead of nagging them. You're always watching football, you're always watching that, you always they want you to support them. Sometimes you don't have to sit down and watch the whole game with them, but maybe 5 minutes here and there, it makes them loves you more. It creates a space in their hearts for you by even doing just that. Men loves that. So if you don't know about it, try that. Support your hobbies, support your hobbies, your hobbies habits. Support your hobbies habits. Okay, you will be surprised to know how much he is into his hobbies, and how he will go on and on and on and on and talking about his game to you, even without knowing that you don't even know much about that game, but because you started a conversation, he can't stop. And that's meant for you. Talk about family, talk about his family. Maybe you went to visit his family, they cook you nice dinner, they did something nice. Maybe you can bring that conversation up. Honey, I love the way your family receive us when we visit them. I'm so appreciative about everything your family does for us. Your mommy having the children so that we can go out for dinner, your mommy having the children for weekend and all that. Appreciate his family. Talk about his family. Talk about the good thing. Okay, no family is perfect. I know there might be someone in your husband's family that you don't like. We all have that, and vice versa. But talk about the good stuff. Don't talk about the bitter things. Talk about the good stuff that his family does for you. I love the way your family receive us. I appreciate the way they invited us for dinner, lunch, whatever, supper. I appreciate the way your mom takes the children, your sister comes and takes the children out, and all that. Talk about the good stuff about his family. It makes your man to appreciate you so, so much. They appreciate you so much, and you'll be surprised to know how happy he is when he talk about his family. I mean, sometimes our husbands knows that their family are not the best people to be around, but if you can accommodate them, if you can tolerate them, if you cannot if you can see the positive side, if you can stop talking about the negative side and all that, which we all have in our family. Some of them are very negative, not appreciative. If you can be less talkative about the negative side, I think your husband will appreciate that. And I think it's something that I have to learn to do, and I'm learning to do that. But sometimes it's not just easy. When black is black, white is white. But sometimes it is what it is. But our husbands appreciate us if we stop talking about the negativity in their family, because sometimes they know what's going on, but they just don't want it is. So that's something, conversation that you can have with your husband without being bored at home. Talk about positive stuff, happy and proud moment. Talk about the happy and the proud moment that you guys had together. Maybe the first time you met, the first date you went on, or how you met, when you met at the nightclub, when you were zipping it and doing it, and then he saw you and he came to you, and those things, the happy moment. Or maybe when he asked you on the first day things that he did, and just talk about a happy moment that you're proud, and happy moment that you had, or proud things that you're proud of about him, things that you're proud of about your husband. That's something that, again, women, we need to learn to do. Appreciate our husband, the proud moments, like how proud we are. I think they've done so many things that we're proud of, but can pick up a particular a scenario, situation, and appreciate him and remember him, and assure him or affirm that you still remember that day, and you never forget how he stood up for you. I personally, there's a moment in my life that I'll never forget. When my mom passed away, my husband was right there. My husband came to visit me, and then my mom passed away, and that moment I will never forget. And I don't know what would have happened to me if he wasn't right by my side. I don't know what I would have done at that moment if my husband wasn't right before we got married, if he wasn't right by my side. And that's the day that I'll never forget. And I'll always hold myself to that. Sometimes when there's a situation going on, I still remember that like I can't do him any wrong because of this day. I can't do him any wrong. I'm not perfect, but because of this day, I'll always remember and appreciate him for that. You understand? So, appreciate the happy and the proud moments. Ask him about the most memorable period times, in your lives, when you met, like I said, all that is very important to have this conversation. Once in a while, you bring this conversation, and it will lead to other conversation. Everyone come on be brave about what you say. Into I mean, what if you not say unyan come be a moi, and when I make church, you say you don't have to sit silence. No, put here now, sit here now. We should TV now. We kind of paper, and I say, oh, yeah, you don't know what to do. But you're not bad man. Or a funny T-shirt. They are to no cookroom. Ma bebree and I know just when you cook bebree and then just say when you cook, but it's boring for them. And you need to be creative when it comes to conversation. And when I say, me no church there, and my parents so me pay me now for being the aba. Now me invite you. Now you box and come in. Then we give tips to each other. What you have to talk about. I know embarrassing moment as well. Embarrassing moment. It's hey, near maybe I be a share, or do call first date. Near my way, or my ostrich so go home, or my ostrich time. Okay, people just stop. Embarrassing moments happen. What you say, first date, near maybe breezy, or beats me the pattern to manage to run or drink so go home. Every crying yet that time, yeah. Later, you could to me, I just or Sra just and I said, yeah, my story, yeah, whereby the woman was pregnant and then the husband took her on a date and the husband did something, made her laugh so much that she peed herself. She was a pregnant woman, and I wasn't surprised. About if you're pregnant, your bladder is just as weak as anything you can think of. Okay, if you're pregnant, especially when you're getting bigger and bigger, your bladder is just like, okay, even when you cough, something is coming down there. Even when you sneeze, your panty liner is getting wet. That's what most pregnant women wear, panty liner, because the bigger you get, the weaker things, the looser things become. What did I say? So talk about embarrassing moments. Embarrassing moments can turn out to be a funny and a great conversation. Don't be shy about it. Don't be shy. You've been together for some time now, so there's no shame in that game saying that, oh, I farted in front of my husband, I boofed in front of my husband, I peed, he made me laugh so much that I peed. It's an embarrassing moment. You're just catching up, you're just having a conversation, you just want to have a good time, catch up with your husband and keep the day going and keep the bond, bonding and building and having all this good time with your husband. Ask him about his friends, ask him about his friends and listen to him. Never judge them. That's one thing that we shouldn't do. Men don't like it when we start judging their friends, especially their best friends. We start speaking negative things about their best friends. I mean, all of our husbands, okay, have those friends that sometimes we dislike, we detest because of the way they speak, the way they carry themselves around. We don't like that. But I would advise you that just be less negative about your husband's friends in front of him, because sometimes when you do that, they don't like it. Just be less negative about your husband's friends. Okay, you're watching Straight Talk Media. We talk about relationships a lot. So if you have any topics that you want me to discuss, I just discuss it randomly. I don't put your name out there. My number is out there as you're watching. Just send me a message on WhatsApp. You can also call me on WhatsApp and we will talk behind closed doors. And thank you so much. Those people who calls me, people who sent me messages, I do know, but I'm coming back, as you can see now. Very soon I'll sit here Fridays and Sundays and then we talk about all the topics. I'm trying hard to get some people on board so that sometimes I know you do appreciate my opinions, but I just want other people, like if I sit here, I have another woman by my side so that we can talk about it and share, and maybe in a day we can talk about 3 topics or 4 and just share advice. It does help. Relationships are tough, marriages are tough, but sometimes we need each other, and it's not everything that you want to tell your family. It's not everything that you want to tell your friends. Sometimes you need to put it out there randomly and see what other people think. And that's what I believe in. There are certain conversations about your relationship that you don't have to tell your mom, your dad, or your siblings. Okay, there are other issues in your family, in your relationship, that you don't even have to tell your friends. You need to just put it out there. And that's why Straight Talk Media, you see, I'm a married woman myself, if you want to know. That's why I talk about marriage. I don't believe in talking about something I have no idea, no clue about, especially marriage. It's very delicate, very sensitive, and it's a learning curve for all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Before I go, I'll play a song. I have no right to all this music. It's all for entertainment reason. So hopefully, this is my first time streaming live on, you know, uh, the StreamYard. This is just testing, and I'm doing it on Facebook, on YouTube straight. So hopefully somebody can watch it out there, and I can watch it back as well. Again, this is my first time streaming live on StreamYard, straight to YouTube. Enjoy, and thank you so much for being here with me. Cheers to my cranberry juice. Wow. Please play me some music. Okay, my guests are waiting. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Let's do this. I will love him. I will love him. I will love him. I will love him. Yes, yes. Cause yes, yeah, yeah. Yes, enjoy. Have no right to this music. Talk and intimate. Cause yes, yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you. I'll end the broadcast. Thank you.